What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel, and if you guys are new, welcome. Today we are taking it to an Arc Hunter build that I made way back in the day, and it has gotten even better with the updated mod system that we have, as well as the artifact this season, cranking this build from a 10 out of 10 all the way up to a 15, jolting literally every enemy that you can think of with getting your grenade back almost instantly while having some nice DPS from our super and weapon, as well as some crazy ad clear as well. So we're gonna get right into it right here. So starting off with our abilities, aspects, and fragments, you can see we got that Gathering Storm, like I said, for that DPS, plus the Arc Jolt is continuing even inside of our super. Now for me with this build, I went with Gambler's Dodge just because it pairs very well with Combination Blow, plus with some of our mods that we have on, with the Grenade Spam getting our dodges and melees back instantly, help as well with the Jolting and ad clear of this build. Now for your jump, you can really pick whatever you want. As well for your melee, I would choose to go with Combination Blow if you're running Gamblers, but if you do run Marksman, you could run Disorienting if you want. Now for Grenade, definitely got to be running them skip grenades because we're wearing Shinobu's Vow. Like I said, we're doing damage with these jolting targets and then getting them back because of our exotic, and it is insane the amount of energy that we're getting from these nades itself. Now, onto our first aspect right here with Flow State. We got that defeating a jolted target makes us amplified. While we're amplified, our dodge recharges more quickly, you are more resilient while dodging, and you reload your weapon greatly increases. So that's one of the reasons why we're using Gambler's Dodge, because we're becoming that amplified so fast with jolting everything and these grenades that we get a very fast reload speed, plus we get that nice resilience while we're dodging. Number 2 for aspects, Lethal Current. After dodging, our next melee attack has increased lunge range and jolts the target and creates a damaging aftershock. Damaging any jolted target with a melee also blinds them. So because of this, we're going to be able to jolt targets with both our grenade, our super, as well as our melee. And then also when that grenade jolts a target and we melee them or double melee, we're going to blind that target. So helps with overload as well as unstoppable just with our abilities. Now, moving on to our fragments, I went with a very specific set because, again, we're going to be amplified super fast with this build because of our aspects. So getting those defeats rapidly with this build is going to help us to create orbs of power everywhere, which we are using for our armor mods. Plus, it helps us get back our super just a little bit faster. Second on this list, since we will be kind of up close and personal with this build, we are using Spark of Feedback, so taking that melee damage briefly increases your outgoing melee damage, so we can get up close with this combination blow and just chain the jolting of our skip grenades with our combination blow, and we get that nice little 10 on our resilience because of this fragment. Number 3 for fragments, Spark of Ions. Defeating a jolted target creates those ionic traces for us, which we will be able to collect those, which grant us even more ability energy. So defeating all of those jolted targets via literally everything that we have in our abilities is going to create ionic traces for us, allowing for an even faster ability spam with those skip grenades and our melee. And last but certainly not least, what brings this build all together with that jolting is Spark of Shock. So our double skip grenades are going to hit and jolt everything, and since they are breaking apart, tracking the enemies, the ad clear potential of this build is absolutely nasty, especially when pairing it with Gambler's Dodge and our combination blow melee. Now, when we move on to weapons right here, we got the Rufus's Fury for that Demolitionist, as well as it helps with anti-barriers this season. Now, for me, for my energy weapon, went with the trusty Dusty Forbearance. As you can see, I absolutely love this thing. Ambitious Chain Reaction, creating that arc synergy for us, helping with some of our mods that we have on as well. And finally, we going with that Thunderlord for that extra little bit of jolting on those lightning spikes, as well as that Overload Champion. We're able to stun those as well with this, so we're getting every single champion with just our abilities as well as our couple weapons here, and this thing is absolutely nasty with arc synergy. Now, moving on to our artifact, obviously this thing is juiced for arc and void builds, so we are using a decent amount of these. Now, this build also, without these artifact mods, is an absolute insane build, like I said, with the changes to some of our aspects fragments, as well as that mod system. This build is definitely still a 10 out of 10, but with these, cranking it all the way up to 15. So first off, we got that anti-barrier pulse for that Rufus's Fury. Next off, we're going to have that authorized arc mods as well as authorized melee mods. We are going to be using that Technicolor Siphon, so our strand weapon as well as both of our arc weapons will help us to create orbs of power. Now, on to the trifecta down here. That electric armor is going to allow us to stay amplified longer. Now, with that, we're going to be able to have our increased super damage when we are critically wounded or amplified, which plays right back into electric armor. And then on top of that, we're going to gain damage resistance while amplified via amped up. So these three play very, very well together and feed off of each other, which is insane. Especially with this build, we're going to be amplified consistently. On top of that, because we're going to be able to break every type of champion, we have counter charge, so we can get that armor charge when we do stun one. Now, making this build absolutely nasty this season is lightning strikes twice. After throwing an arc grenade, we gain increased grenade energy for a short time. Arc final blows extend the duration of this, and since we're getting arc final blows literally everywhere with this, lightning strikes twice is giving us our grenades back even faster with those Shinobu's Vow and those ionic traces. And then last but not least, we have that shock and awe. Arc final blows while amplified summon a burst of lightning that damage and jolts targets. So our fifth way of jolting targets with this build, just making it that 15 out of 10, like I said, S++ build. Now, when we move on to our armor, definitely built this out for resilience as well as discipline, so we can stay alive and have those grenades up as often as possible. Now, you can see we have some artifice gear on, and like I said, we are using that dual current siphon for our arc and strand weapons, as well as ashes to assets, so we're going to get our super back even faster on all of those grenade defeats that we're getting, because we are spamming grenades all willy-nilly like with this build. And on top of that, we're spreading the love of armor charge with powerful friends, where we collect that orbs of power, which gives our allies an armor charge as well. Moving on to the Shinobi's Vow, what makes this build absolutely insane, giving us the new tricks. Improved skip grenades, and we gain that additional skip grenade charge, which is why we're going to have two of them. Plus, those improved skip grenades means it's going to track enemies a little bit more aggressively. On top of that, when we hit enemies with the skip grenade, it's going to return energy for that grenade, so it allows for some crazy spam, especially with lightning strikes twice. Now, for our mods, we're going to have firepower to create orbs of power on all of those grenade defeats. On top of that, momentum transfer and bolstering detonation, we're going to get our class ability as well as our melee back when we do damage with these. So using that combination and the gambler's dodge, we're going to be able to spam those alone. And when we do lose them, this right here with bolstering and momentum is going to give them back very quickly anyways. So like I said, it's an ability spam dream for these arc hunters. Moving on to our chest piece, charged up with arc damage resistance as well as sniper damage resistance. You can change out that arc damage and sniper to whatever it may be, concussive, void, solar, depending on the activity you're going into. Then charged up just so we can have an extra stack of that armor charge, which we are using that on our boot in a surge mod. Now, onto the boots. Like I said, we got the double arc surge, so our forbearance as well as our Thunderlord are going to do that nice little bit of extra damage for us, allowing to spam that blinding of everything, the jolting, and that chain reaction of forbearance. And then recuperation, we're going to replenish our health each time we pick up orbs of power, which is super nice for that end game activity and staying alive, since we're going to have orbs of power everywhere with this build. And last but certainly not least, we're going to have that powerful attraction with double bomber on, so when we dodge, we automatically collect all those orbs nearby, which give us that recuperation, plus the amount of times that we're going to be dodging with gamblers and combination blow. We're going to have double bomber on so we can get back our grenade even faster with the combination of Shinobu's, double bomber, as well as lightning strikes twice on our artifact. So as you can see, we are absolutely spamming grenades with this build. We're able to get our super back very quickly. We are amplified basically continuously with this, allowing us to spam our abilities. Lightning strikes twice, thunderous retort, and amped up, so we have that survivability, plus we're having that grenade melee and dodge spam, which collects us our orbs automatically. We have the DPS of our super and thunderlord, so this thing is the jack of all trades for Arc Hunter. Very fun, and definitely was slept on in my opinion. I didn't think it was going to be as good as it was, so I was poorly mistaken. Definitely still got your Assassin's Cowl, Liar's Handshake build that do way more damage than this, but your ability to throw grenades as consistently as you do inside of this build is definitely unmatched inside of the PvE realm with almost anything on any single class. Starfire Protocol used to be like that, but now with that nerf, definitely not nearly as good, and this right here definitely takes the cake for grenade spam in my opinion. Plus that add clear and jolting is absolutely nasty with this build. Everything, our super, our weapons, our arc abilities in grenade and melee, it is a jolt fest. So hopefully y'all enjoyed this build just as much as I do. Very fun and slept on, like I said. If y'all enjoy these builds, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe and notification button to come back. Never miss out on these bad boys. Plus we got a nice video on our first weapon of this season with that nice stasis SMG that is taken and looking all sweet, so be on the lookout for that. I appreciate all you guys. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.